Hi, welcome to the show. I'm Suzanne Lynn, and joining me today, featured guest author Edward P. Borowsky wrote The Great Mongolian Bowling League of the United States of America. One of the most fun reads I've had in a long time. It's just a really cool concept. How did you even Ed, before we even get into what the book's about? How did you come up with it? And welcome, by the way.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you for having me, Suzanne. I was in Chicago, going to Chicago O'Hare Airport, and a taxi driver picked me up. And when I got in the taxi, he said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "Home to Orlando." And he says, "Oh, I'm going to Orlando next month." I said, "Oh, you're going to Disney?" He said, "No, bowling tournament." And I said, "Where are you from originally?" He said, "Mongolia." And I said to him, "You're the first Mongolian American I've ever met."
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't realize, that we had Mongolian American immigrants in the country.
Oh, that bowl, right?
That bowl, yeah. And it was interesting because he told me that AMF bowling alleys on Thursday nights between the hours of midnight or 9 p.m.
Okay.
and midnight had what they called quarter mania, where they had 25-cent games, 25-cent hot dogs, and 25-cent bowling shoe rentals. And he says, "I'm a poor immigrant, so my friends and I got together, and on Thursday night, we had a ball." And I said, "Well, how many people are going to Orlando for the bowling tournament?" He said, "Over 600.
Wow.
And I did some research. When I got to Orlando, I went to that bowling alley and I spoke to the manager, and she pulled out the records, and there was about 60 of them who came. But still, that was a lot of people, and because they came with their families and so forth. And it was their first ever Mongolian American bowling tournament, which occurred in Kissimmee.
That is so cool. And the whole plot actually is based in Lakeland, right? The protagonist and
Well, the protagonist and his
Mhm.
roommate, Murray, of 30
Mhm.
years, they live in a trailer park in Land O'Lakes, Florida.
I'm laughing because I just remember in the book, you gotta love these characters. I mean, Murray is you just fall in love with him. And I think you described it best. It's a comedy with a surprisingly serious undertone. That nails it. Absolutely
Well,
perfect.
it's a little absurd that you have two old Jewish guys. I mean, Harold's 72 years old, Murray's a little older, who come together with young Mongolian Americans at a bowling tournament, and then they meet up with the Italian mobsters who have a fix on the game. And then it goes from there. So just the coming together, the cultural differences and how they relate to each other really is an exploration in commonality.
It is. There is a lot of common ground there, and you go, wow, they're from around the world, but yet here we meet in a bowling alley, the most American place we can be.
There's a
And
lot of history in the book because people don't know anything about Mongolia.
yeah.
In 1990, they declared their independence from Russia, and they had a silent coup and declared democracy at very, very great risk.
Hmm.
So, most people in the United States don't know it, but Mongolia is a budding democracy.
Hmm. All right, let's dive into the characters here because they are so rich and so vibrant. Are they real?
No, all my characters are figments of my imagination.
Okay.
However, many times when I write, they're based on people that I know, and bits and pieces of myself and bits and pieces. Murray is a good friend of mine who I know that I don't want to say his name, but
Right.
it's very close to the vest.
Yeah. And the thing that really surprised me is that you were surprised as the author writing the book because you don't plan ahead. You don't storyboard or anything. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I write intuitively, and I don't know if it's good or bad. It's just my style, but I sit down and I write chapter to chapter to chapter.
Wow.
One of the advantages I think as a writer is that the reader discovers as you discover.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of things come that you don't even know when you begin a book, comes from you and comes together, and the discovery is something that you do together.
Mm-hmm. What do you hope that people feel when because there's a bigger, kinder message to this book. What do you hope people understand, think about, and feel afterwards?
Well, although it's a comedy, I've had a lot of people tell me that after they've read the book, they've cried.
Mm-hmm.
There's a serious undertone and a serious message about living together.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mentioned, commonality and cultural differences. But I think one of the things that it answers, this book really truly answers, is anybody asked the question, did I have a good life? Did my life have meaning? And was I a good person? this book has the answers for you.
It's such a special friendship that Harold and Murray have. I think that's kind of the undertone, the foundation of just kindness and acceptance, because they're unique characters. And, there's just such acceptance when, Murray goes off with Arlene and, well, he'll be back sometime, it's just no real expectations, just complete and utter love.
It really is. I was invited to the 2019 International Mongolian Studies Conference in Washington, D.C. And then I was invited to the Mongolian Embassy, where I met several ambassadors from Mongolia and to the United States. It was a fascinating weekend, but the Mongolians were thrilled. They said I'm the first American author who has ever written something about them. And that was the weekend that they had Mongolian literature, I guess, brought into the Library of Congress. So my book, I believe, is in the Library of Congress.
Perfect timing. All right. Well, I wish we had more time. It was great to talk to you. Tell me one more time, Ed, where is the book available?
Book's available on Amazon, the great Amazon.
All right. The great mighty Amazon, the Great Mongolian Bowling League of the United States of America. Please consider buying it, and please consider leaving reviews too. I think you're going to really enjoy it. Edward, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you.